last forever. And if you trust in the Lord, your nights will turn to day. Just remember, it will get better.
Hear that sound on a Monday and on a Thursday at 11:30 a.m. It's time for your mid-morning program, Final Decision. We are here again this week. I am, of course, your host, Mark Maitland. And with me, as per usual, we have my co-host, Mr.
Errol Green from Exodus Funeral Home.
And we are here today with another lively, and guess what? Not only lively, we will be having an interactive program for you this morning because, as promised, our phone lines will be opened today for you to call in to participate, and we eagerly await your participation. Before I go any further, let me drop the numbers for you. So get your pen, your dialing pad, whatever it is that you want to get to script this. The numbers to call are 876 968 8117. That's 876-968-8117. And the toll-free number, 877-494-0253. So let me go back over that from the top for somebody who's listening, who is not so fast on the typing. It's 876-968-8117. Toll-free, 877-494-0253. Final Decision, your mid-morning program. Last week, Mr. Green, we started a conversation, picked up on what we were talking about on Monday, and I told the listeners that this week we will be talking about pre-funeral arrangements. And I just want to remind you that pre-arrangement does not mean you have intent to die or you have intentions of dying. It's just that you are putting things in place either for yourself or for a loved one, in many cases an aged parent, so that when that time comes, the process is easier. Mr. Green, good morning again.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Yeah, man. Yes, Mr. Maitland, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. How was your weekend, sir?
It was a good weekend, but it's always good to be here on a Monday and on a Thursday to provide the information to the listeners and also to have their feedback, because when you go out in the streets, Mr. Green, I'm telling you, the feedback is overwhelming, and not only overwhelming, but also welcoming, as I hear individuals share how they have been impacted by the program.
Yes, sir. And I'm realizing now how important this program is to our listeners. And, each time you go out there, people have so many questions to ask, realizing that this is a very needed program in a time such as this.
Yes.
People want insight. They want to know exactly what to do when they don't know what to do,
And the impact is spreading far and wide, and that's a wonderful thing, not only for us, but for the listeners, for those who stand to benefit. Mr. Green, pre-arrangements. Is it something that individuals are embracing with an open arm?
No, they are not. And this is a stigma in Jamaica. Whenever time you talk about pre-arrangement and insurance, eyebrow begin to raise, because nobody wants to make plans to die. But as Mr. Maitland rightly said earlier on, it is not about you making preparation for your death. But you might have a loved one, right, who is in a critical condition, very sick. And doctor might say, this person don't really look good. So, some family would want to make pre-arrangement. Or you have some people, they do not want the stress and their family.
Right.
That when they pass off, they have to go through all of that.
Right.
So some family would want to make some form of arrangement.
And I find that most persons who go the route of pre-arrangement is that they want to ensure that things are in place so that, as you rightly said, it takes the stress off of their loved ones when that time comes.
Yes, Mr. Maitland, and pre-arrangement is not only about just paying for the funeral.
It's putting things
in place. And some people want a certain type of funeral,
Right.
and they want their remains to be sent to a particular funeral home. They want a particular church or a particular pastor. So sometimes that's how the prearrangement come in. Sometimes they want to make sure
that things are
in place.
One of the plus about prearrangement also is that it saves money, because what I do know for some prearrangement packages is that the cost, if you do intend to either make a down payment or to pay in full at the time, the cost is locked in for a particular period. Some persons over a number of years, and again, different funeral homes and different funeral directors will have different stipulation as to how long it is done, because we know inflation affects our spending power. But the fact is, with pre-arrangements, when you do that sort of contract and it is locked, it does not matter what happens in the economy. For a period of time, for a number of years, that amount is not impacted, is not changing in any way, shape, or form. And I can give you an example. During COVID, I had a client. Well, just before COVID, the client put together the pre-arrangement package, and we know that in the heights of COVID, there were some price increases with the cemeteries. Now, one of the plus for the individuals who had gone the way of pre-arrangement is that when it came to time for interment, though the costs were changed in the industry, this did not impact them, because everything was already in place at a set price for over a number of years. So whatever change in costs happened at that time did not impact the family members, because they had their thing in place. And that's one of the reasons why when individuals think about or plan to go the route of pre-arrangement and they ask questions, because they do ask questions, this is one of the things that we talk about. But I'm just doing the introductory aspect of pre-arrangement today.
Yeah.
Thursday we'll get some more into the whole the arena of pre-arrangement.
Mr. Maitland, as you share that experience, I have one similar experience. I have done quite a few pre-arrangements before. But there was a particular family that comes to me about a pre-arrangement, for wife and husband, and the type of money that they want to spend for their funeral arrangement. To be honest with you, Sir Mark, I have to advise them to do because the insurance company have a lot of investment, yeah? And I believe it was best for me to direct them in that part at the time, because they were pretty young, and I think that the money, I want the business, I want the business, but I think that the money could be better used in that area. So I point them to an insurance company and they got a very nice plan.
Right.
That the insurance company was able to give them a certain amount of money every 4 months.
Right. And the fact is, again, it speaks to the fact that as funeral directors, we are sometimes advisors. And yes, we should always look out for the clients, look out for the
best of their interests.
Yes,
because not that
interest.
we need their business, but I respect the fact that they come to me and they want me to take care of things, yeah, if things go wrong with them, right? So they want to do a pre-arrangement. And I call up my insurance agent and I talk to him about it, and he introduced a very nice package. Right? That they pay a certain amount of money per month, and they was able to pay like 6 months in advance.
Yes.
Right?
And those things.
And things like that. And every 4 months, I said to them, listen to me, man, I'm going to sell you a package from my insurance company that every 4 months, you can spend a weekend at a resort. No. Enjoy look of life before you die, because you're not ready for that yet. Right? Makes sense. So every 4 months at least, you can say either you're going to do something nice to your home, or you're going to do something for the kids and your grandchildren, or you're just going to enjoy a weekend at a resort. Every 4 months you're going to do that.
And Mr. Green is touching a very salient point, because listeners, as we continue to say, the program is not just to provide information for you, but it's to provide vital information, because as your funeral directors of choice, we want to look out for your well-being as best as possible. And we want to cater to your needs before you die. We don't just only want to have that interaction with you at the time of death. And so whatever information we can provide to help you to live a better life That's exactly what we
Right,
wanna
Mr.
do.
Maynard, because this industry, we don't want people to believe that the funeral industry is about us burying people.
No, it's not.
You know, somebody else bury them, you know. We want to let you know we are caring for the total man.
Yes.
Right? We have a great interest in humanitarian, not just the deceased.
Listeners, I hope you realize
Right.
that Mr. Green has come firing this morning.
Because we want to help people to make better, make better decisions and know what is happening out there and know what they can do. Because sometimes, we make some very poor decisions in life because we were not properly advised as to do what is best.
Right.
So we are here, we believe that we are expert in this field and we have information that can make things a little bit better for you, let you understand more about the funeral industry and as what happened inside the funeral industry.
All right. So, listeners, again, let me remind you of the lines, of the numbers to call before we segue in a few with our special guest. And I know you have questions. The numbers are 968-876 before that, of course, 968-8117. And the toll-free number, 877-494-0253. And if you are at work and you are unable to call, you can send a text. You can just add the number to your phone and send a text. The text line is 876-828-0925. So the text line is 876-828-0925. And for those who are on YouTube, we will read your messages live on the YouTube feed. Thank you very much, Kevin Galloway, for giving us that welcome on our YouTube feed. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can utilize the different platforms in order to get to us. Now, as promised, we told you that Miss Johns would be back because we got some questions from some listeners at the end of the program last week, and also she will be back to just shed some more light on what she talked about last week. And for those who are able to, you can call in and she will answer your question live. So at this time, we are going to segue into a commercial break. And then after we come back from that commercial break, we are going to move directly into having Miss Johns talk to you and you can give your feedback. It will get better.
It will get better.
Super Center, everything for your home and more.
Whether you are redecorating your home, looking for a gift idea, or simply feel for some retail therapy, Asden Super Center is the place to be. Regal Plaza Kingston and Linstead. We have it all. From linens and curtains to appliances and cookware, furniture, rugs, and wall decor. It's everything for your home and more.
Asden Super Center, we're gonna make you smile. Asden Super Center, it's a lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
For miles and miles of beautiful carpets and exquisite rugs to brighten your office and home, visit the Carpet Store at 18 Dunbarton Avenue off Malines Road. They install, clean your carpets, and add elegance to every room in your house. Call 876-649-0174 or come to the Carpet Store at 18 Dunbarton Avenue because you deserve the best.
Lady Vanessa Baker and team presents Stronger Believers Conference, the ultimate healing and deliverance experience for a holistic you on July 8th, 9 a.m. at the Worship in Faith International Fellowship, 55 Old Arbor Road, Spanish Town. Admissions free. Be empowered by our professional group counseling, gospel artists, and powerful messages from ministers, local and international. Invite a friend to share in this encounter and live in purpose.
It will get better. It will get better. Won't last forever. Won't last forever. And if you trust in the Lord.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. Of course, with us today again is Miss Anastacia Johns, insurance advisor from Chancellor Insurance Brokers, and of course, your guardian life and surgical policies can be done through Ms. Johns. Ms. Johns, thank you so much for joining us again.
You're most welcome.
This time by popular demand from our listeners. No, let me jump right into it because we only have 15 minutes. Subsequent to our program, a listener sent in this question. To ask you, what if you are too old to work what happened to the insurance that you were paying prior to being unemployed?
All right. So if you're too old to work and you're unable to pay the premiums, that's what we're saying. Well, the fundamental definition of insurance, is to provide coverage in exchange for premium. So what we would have to explore is possibly if there are children or a child who is old enough and employed who could pay the premiums on your behalf, or we have other plans within communities where, for example, a church can have a plan for some of its indigent members who are not able to afford, and the church can possibly pay the premium. So there's no way around the premium. It's just to find the best and most suitable option
So
getting the
follow-up question.
coverage.
I've been paying the insurance while I was able to. However, I've fallen on hard times. And none of the options that you just suggested. I don't go to church, nor do I have children or anything.
Okay.
And times have become hard. What happens to all that I used to pay before?
All right. So I like to say to my clients, yes, we need premiums, and you have been paying for a number of years. So here's what you could do. Keep in touch with your client, and I'm hoping that your policy would have had savings on the plan. And if it does, then we could use that savings to pay the premiums, right? Now, because there's no way around that, the premium has to be paid. So we could put a system in place wherein you could use your savings to pay the premiums. I often say, don't give up and say, goodness, I can't work and all of my money gone down the drain. Keep in close relation with your financial advisor. They can possibly try to find a best way to bridge the gap until something consistent can be worked out.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Mr. Green.
All right. So is it that the premium has to pay until you die? Is there a cutoff time where you pay no more?
There are plans that has a cutoff period, and you still have coverage. So not all plans do that, but there are some that has that feature.
So,
Yes.
so it is important.
So you are
then-
payable for a number of years, but your coverage will still remain.
So it is
But
important
not
then to
all
have
plans.
it is important then to have the dialogue with your
With your
provider.
yes,
Not
with
all
your
that
advisor/representative,
Right.
and you work together to find the best solution. Many times persons don't want to do that, or they may not even be in dialogue with the advisor, and things go AY. Whereas if you were in constant contact, you could be able to save what you have invested thus far.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Maitland, let me advise our listeners that, when they're approaching the insurance, they need to question their representative.
Right.
You need to question them and what you are getting involved in, because, some people might familiar with insurance in other country or it's operate and believe it's the same thing in Jamaica.
Right.
So I advise them to read the fine print, because, I would want to believe that if a person is paying an insurance premium, right, there must be a time when you pay no more and the insurance take care of itself, because you can't expect, say, a person retired at 65, 70 year old, and after that age, where's going to find the money to pay the premium?
Right.
So I believe that it should be, after paying for 20 years or 25 years, the premium, it should take care of itself. That's my belief. I don't know.
So it is very important that you have the dialogue.
Yes.
You ask the questions.
Ask the question.
And you work on the one that best suits
Right, Mr.
your
Maitland.
affordability.
Right.
And as you
Not only your need, but your affordability.
Your affordability.
Yes,
Right.
because in this case, affordability is much more important than need.
Right.
Right. As you were saying, Mr. Green, about having the insurance and then you're approaching retirement and so on. Now, usually, say, for example, you've had a plan when you were in your 30s and you had a young family, correct? And, the children are grown and they're on their own, etc. So you'd have to look at your coverage, look at what you have, look at what you're paying out, and probably readjust and recalculate because I don't have these young children anymore. So if I pass, pretty much what they would be needing is to cover my final expenses and possibly for some estate planning. So you'd probably have to sit with your advisor and say, boy, you know, I really don't need 50 million coverage now. The children are on their own. Let us look at things and recalibrate so that you're not putting out this, you know, hefty sum.
Yeah, I'm glad I mentioned that, because because my insurance is more like an investment. You know, it have a cutoff time where, after at a certain age, I should be benefiting from the insurance.
Right.
So as I said, it's good for listeners to ask the questions from your financial advisor and let them advise you
and
about the different
policies.
Like that. Some policies operate like that. You know what I mean? Where at the end of the day, after paying for 25 years, you can live comfortable.
Okay. Mr. Green, earlier we had in the discussion of air, you had a question in relation to insurance policies and cases where
yes, sir.
Are not done. Go ahead with that.
Yes, sir. The question that I want to ask, and I'd like for you to share this for our listeners, learning, right? Is everyone who have an insurance that will benefit from the insurance?
No, not everyone. So there are cases where if the cause of death is suicide, then the insurance company will not.
Okay, so you're saying in spite of how you pay your premium, right? Mm-hmm. If the cause of death is known to be suicide, you will not benefit from the insurance. It will be a lapse.
That's correct.
You will not benefit from the insurance because the person commits suicide.
That's correct.
So they will not benefit from the insurance. Is there other reason? Because I have a case, a situation, right, where I was told that because of the incident, right, the person will not benefit because it was a shootout with the police.
Okay.
So I have learned that if the person who's been insured engaged in a shootout with the police,
and it can be proven.
And it can be proven. It can be proven, then the person will not benefit. Do you want to explain that? Because there are some fine prints, that the listeners are not reading the fine print. And I believe that it is there. But so the fine print can enough.
All right.
And the argument sounds
all right.
sweet.
So with regard to the person who died in a shootout, there are certain things that stipulate that in terms of, the person was probably involved in violence or a particular gang or whatever the case may be. So they would not benefit from the insurance because of how they died in that way. Another thing too, which I know, is that if I have a loved one who was in shootout with the police, there are certain things the family, in order to bury that loved one, the family, I believe, has to pay for how the person died in order to get.
They have to pay for the bullets.
That's correct.
So it's only in that case alone the family pay for the bullets when it's a shootout with the police and insurance involved.
I don't want to get too deep in that and misinform.
Let
me stay with insurance.
Yes.
Right.
And
because why I ask, because I've seen many cases where individual was shot by the police and they have not paid for the bullets.
No, I think Mr. Green, right. Though we should save that for when the representative from the Ministry of Security comes.
Right.
Okay. Yes. But we are saying to our listeners that if the person is engaged in a shootout, it can be proven.
Yes.
Right.
And
the insurance company will not honor that claim.
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
So listeners, although you pay your premium and you pay for your loved one, if they're engaged in a shootout with the police, it can be proven. The insurance will not honor that claims. And trust me, that is vital information for our listeners to know. Because at the end of the day, when people pay, they want to collect.
Right. And I know this has been an eye-opening segment for many of us. Because there are things that prior to today, we did not know, especially in relation to what we really just discussed. Because though most persons are familiar with the fact that if the nature of death or the mode of death is by suicide, then no claim can be had through that. I don't think many were aware that if the mode of death was subsequent to a shootout, and it can be proven that there's nothing to be collected through the insurance for that type of death. So this is information, Mr. Green, Miss Johns, that I believe has opened a lot of eyes.
Yeah.
And again, it speaks to what we intend to do with the half an hour that we have each Monday and each Thursday, to use the time to give you enough information, enough vital information adequately, so you are able to navigate through life. Ms. Johns, with the last 5 minutes that we have, is there anything that you'd want to say, put out there to our listeners that we did not get to cover last week before we go?
Sure. All right. Just want to say how important life insurance is. It can not only assist us with final arrangements for our loved ones, but also it can help us to further ourselves, or to further the family members or the surviving members, especially if there are children involved. You know, it can help you to put them through school and to lift the family forward, so to speak. Help them with financial challenges. You know, that's what life insurance is there for. It can also, it's a method for wealth creation. You know, it's a great way to pass on wealth to your family. It's a great succession plan to have in place. Many times when death comes knocking on our door, we're unprepared. I saw an article yesterday where a young man lost both mother and father. He's now living with his grandmother, and he's often saying, why did they have to go? And the ailing grandmother, you know, is having quite a challenge to send the young chap to school. He's about 9 or 10 years old. Now, with life insurance, if there was a plan in place, he would be living comfortably. If there's a plan in place, we can rest assured knowing that my family members, my young children will be okay if I am not here. So I know there's a preconceived, if I fall on hard times, I may not be able to pay. But listen, if you don't have the plan in place, what happens then? You know, what happens then? So let's think about how it is that we can benefit. We can benefit while we live, as you were saying, Mr. Green, by putting certain investments and savings on. So while we're still alive, we can benefit there. So it's not something to put aside and say, you know, if I die, my family have to bury me. They cannot not bury me. Okay. Yes, they do, but do the responsible thing. Do the responsible thing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Green, your final words to our listeners as we take a leave this
good words, and you know, I really enjoy this moment because I'm learning more, and I just want to say to our listeners that I am hoping that, you know, you tell somebody about this program, because we are here with some vital information that can better you. Not only we are here to prepare to bury your loved one, but for here to help you as a person to be better and put in a position that you can better manage things, right? And as you listen to our insurance agent, you know, I just want you to understand the importance of insurance is not only to make plans for your loved one, but it's a life insurance. You can benefit greatly from it and pass down wealth to your generation.
Certainly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Green. Thank you so much, Ms. Johns, for coming in. But most importantly, thank you so much, listeners, for not only tuning in with us, but also for sharing with other individuals who you know are able to stand to benefit from what we offer here on a Monday and on a Thursday. This has been your program, Final Decisions. Just to remind you, it is aired every Monday and every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. You can set whatever reminder you need. Of course, I am your host, Mark Maitland, who, as always, I'm here with you, and my co-host, I am from the Garden of Paradise Funeral Home, and my co-host from the Exodus Funeral Home, Mr. Errol Green. And it has been and continues to be our pleasure to provide you with this information and more. Friends, as the song says, it will get better. And as I always say, remember, it came to pass. See you. Check out Thursday again. All right.
It will get better. Won't last forever. Won't last forever. And if you trust in the Lord, your nights will turn. Just remember, it will get better.
This is KLAS FM, owned and operated by Omega Radio, the station of the stars where Jesus Christ is the star, the station where you get God and sports. We broadcast on the 89 frequencies on your FM band and online at OmegaKLAS.com. Please continue to be blessed and enlightened. Gospel and sports sensible. Health Alert is sponsored by the National Health Fund. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
If you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Stay home if you feel unwell. If you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical attention and call in advance. Follow the directions of your local health authority.